Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Dan Hyde, and this is Flies in the Kitchen. So today I'm bringing you a conversation I had with Joey Hendrickson. Joey is the co-founder of the Columbus Songwriters Association. Now, you've heard me talk about the CSA here on this podcast before. Well, Joey's one of the guys that brought this to life, and we are thankful for it. It's a great organization that creates a community of songwriters and creative types in the city of Columbus. Now, Joey, in his own respect, is a really great songwriter. I mean, I talk about that with him. I almost instantly connected with his music when I heard it for the first time after meeting him several years ago. But Joey is just, he's just a lot of everything. He's a visionary. He's a consultant. He's a business guy and really just a nonprofit wizard. He's always got his hands in something. I don't think he sleeps. I think his brain never shuts off, and he's always working on the next best thing. So I just tell you to go to his website at joeyhendrickson.com, and you will see the wealth of projects that he has his hands in. Let's just get this started. To kick it off, I'm going to play for you one of his newest ones, actually, that he recorded on his phone with a stranger's guitar in Buenos Aires, of course, during one of his most recent excursions. It's called Mango Juice.
There's something sweet about mango juice laying next to you, thinking about all the things that we could do. Something sad about leaving now, right about scheming how I jump into that suitcase with you. There's something sweet about mango juice, sad about that plane. I'll take you someplace beautiful today. That plane don't know how much it takes to take you away, 'cause my heavy heart could break a pitch plane. When you're up in the sky, watch how the earth turns. It's wild how life decides where we're born. It's crazy we still separate by monolithic walls that tear us away and break our hearts.
So Joey Hendrickson. You ever go by Joe or Joseph or anything like that?
It's starting to happen.
Really?
I'm going by Joe at work.
Huh.
With the new gig, I'm going by Joe.
Is that a different person?
Man, it's definitely a protecting of the performer identity, I think.
Uh-huh.
It's the chairman of the firm actually encouraged me to kind of keep the names different in terms of perspectives and identities at times.
Oh, wow. So tell me about Joe.
Well, I guess as an artist, I always was afraid to get into technology because I thought that technology is what would kind of go against the heart level that you create as an artist that makes you good as an artist. You get so much emotional intelligence that you almost don't need anything else. And I think that actually technology is just my next phase of growth and development. And so that's kind of where Joe comes in. Joe was the audio engineer, actually, when I was developing my studio back in the day and helping people record their songs. I got into preamps. I was modding preamps. I was building snakes and developing acoustically sonic rooms that sounded just right for the recordings.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I've always been doing technology as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And at South by Southwest this year, we kind of talked about that, how if you've been working on your Fishman pickup and you know, you're fixing it with anything aside from rubber bands, you're already getting into technology as a musician, and music kind of exposes you to technology from an early age. If you're setting up a PA system and understanding how sound flows, you're getting into the electrical engineering of music. And so I think music has been a catalyst for technology my whole life, but I never wanted to accept that. And I never really wanted to embrace it either.
All right. You're very hard to pin down.
Lately with my schedule and everything?
Well, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I think I started trying to reach out to you about this, I don't know, at least 6 months ago, if not more.
That's true, Dan.
And you had very good excuses why you couldn't do it, and mostly a lot of it was, I'm in town for 24 hours, and then I'm out of the country again for 3 weeks, and then I'm back for 10 minutes, and then I'm in Austin, and then I'm, so you've been hopping around everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know when it started building, but I got a bunch of opportunities to go overseas to Poland and do consulting work for a month in Upper Silesia. And I was working directly with their cultural institute on a music hub they've built there.
Uh-huh. So how did that even happen? How'd that even...
I spoke at South by Southwest, and that conference is very international. And the panels that I've spoken on in the last 3 years have probably represented about 60 different countries around the world. And then I spoke again at Canadian Music Week, which also represents a large diversity of countries and cultures and people that come together around music. So it happened through speaking out about the benefits of music.
And so they just approached you and said, hey, come to Poland?
I network like crazy,
Uh-huh.
in Columbus and otherwise. Everywhere, when I go to a conference, I just light up and I just start meeting people because I get so excited to hear people's stories. And I just go around the rooms and I just get to know people. I don't even carry business cards or anything. I just have real conversations. And if something hits, then you start to start a thread on something.
Mm-hmm.
And just during immediate text messages, you start connecting. And the Polish work that I did actually came directly through the music commissioner of London. So he hooked me up with Poland because his consultancy had done a big research project in Poland, and they needed to follow up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't send people out, but instead they sent me out to go check it out. And then I went twice and got a current state, and then I went back that third time last year and got a month-long perspective and was able to support some of their programming and their initiatives for the musicians that they're developing there, and then also working with. There's some wild situations. Like I met people from Tasmania that were working with Poland on a simulation of a symphony. So they're doing a live performance of a symphony, putting Scarlet Red cameras down, putting high fidelity audio down, and then through satellite fiber optics, they were basically creating a hologram in Tasmania of a live performance of a symphony. So it was pretty wild, like 1.2
Really?
second delay, and you'll see a hologram symphony in Tasmania.
Wow. Performing
Performing on stage in a building they built specifically for hologram and 3D simulation.
Wow.
And so they did that because they couldn't afford the hiring and the structure of a symphony. But there was a very rich man. He made his career in mathematics and gambling. And he dropped money to build this simulation technology and also this center. And he provided it to a group and a university so that they can monetize it and actually get some return on investment from it over time and maybe even license the technology out. Mm-hmm. So it became a better proposition for them to have a symphony that was 3D simulated as opposed to hiring individual performers to create a symphony.
Wow.
It's pretty wild.
That's definitely some 21st century technology.
And that was another one of those situations, Stan, where I was like, I've been a musician all my life, but I'm starting to see technology everywhere, and it's almost important for me to go and understand technology so that I can make sure that the musicians are getting the benefits at the end of the day.
Is what you're doing now, that's the Sing Creative, right? Is that the consulting?
So you know me as the founder of Columbus Songwriters Association.
Right.
I launched How to Build a Music City, and that's led to the Columbus Music Commission, which is another nonprofit.
Okay.
And then I have Sing Creative as a marketing agency that I've been working with clients and festivals. And
you're on your own.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have some team members. We do social media marketing, but also inbound marketing. Did some stuff with production companies.
Yeah.
a little bit with Uber, Donato's, other people, and just always around entertainment space or strategic marketing for audience engagement. Mm-hmm. And so we have a team around Scene Creative. And then I joined this consulting firm called Calypso.
Oh, okay. So that's who Joe works for.
That's Joe. Yeah. Okay. Management consulting. And then also I have another startup that's launching pretty soon. We have a technology.
Of course you do.
It's a licensing technology I've been talking to you about for a couple years.
Yeah.
So we've got that off the ground, and I've been demoing it, but we're so close to launch. I hope it happens in April.
Okay, in April.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What's that going to look like?
Well, the concept was developed years ago, and it happened through interviewing some people out in Los Angeles. We've been talking about this music publishing documentary within CSA that we never released because we've still been trying to synthesize all the information we gathered from CEOs of publishing companies and art houses that do licensing for different artists. Like we met with Stephen Fenfer, who's like Cara DiGuardi's right-hand man. Just talked to him in his home on some of the strategies he's building for like Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus, CeeLo Green, Jonas Brothers. There's a bunch of artists that he was working with and managing through Art House Entertainment. Through him and David Hirschland from Sony BMG, Chris Liss, and like Kamal Mu and a bunch of others, we realized that synchronization licensing needed to happen on a local level. Mm-hmm. So the idea of just getting your music placed in a video. We hear some sirens.
Yeah, we're not in a studio, ladies and gentlemen.
No, this is the sounds of the city.
Yeah. You love this, don't you?
I love it. Yeah. It's live for me.
Yep.
It's like living
in a soundtrack.
Kind of reminds me of busking a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different directions we could talk about, Dan.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, you didn't grow up in Columbus, right?
No, not sort of, kind of. I mean, I finished elementary school, middle school here.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Uh-huh. But I feel like I grew up in Leesburg, Virginia.
Okay.
Because it's where I got in the most fights in as a kid.
Oh, all right. I know Leesburg, Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So DC was kind of, I feel like, is like my childhood.
Uh-huh.
But then I also obviously had a childhood in Columbus and Hilliard. I just, I feel like it was, I don't know, I was almost grown by the time I moved. I felt like I was rationalized to the world.
Really?
Almost in a way. I just felt like I was ready to be done with school by the time I moved to Columbus and I was finishing up elementary school.
Really? Wow.
I never liked school.
Were you a creative kid?
Yes. Yeah. My music teacher, Mrs. Jansen at Britton Elementary, got me into choir and stuff when I was a kid because she would always hear me singing in the hallways. Mm-hmm. And so I was in all these Columbus Children's Choir and Oak National Children's Choir, and used to hang out with these kids, Russ Lepley and Diana Zambrata, who are now doing really cool things with dance and Broadway and all this stuff. And I was really, really active in music when I was a kid, and then I jumped out of it because there were just too many girls in the choir, Dan. And I just was looking at this thing and seeing all my buddies playing sports, and I'm like, there's too many girls in this choir. There's about four guys and 45 girls. What am I doing here? And then later I totally realized that I totally screwed that up for myself.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because the first time I met you was at, where do you think that was? Do you remember? Where I met you? Where we met?
Let's see. I met Jeff Tobin for the first time at Cafe Kerouac.
Okay.
I think I met you for the first time, maybe Scarlet and Gray Cafe?
No. Before Scarlet and Gray.
Before Scarlet and Gray, I was doing open mics.
You weren't doing an open mic. We were at the Dolphin.
The Dolphin Lounge.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Chris Bosca.
Yep.
That was when I was meeting him for the first time with his
really
with his wife, Courtney, and I was trying to get his thoughts on some sort of a program for the homeless youth. I was raising money for homeless youth at that point. Yeah,
that's so funny because I went to go hear his band play. Rocky Fork String Band.
Yeah, Rocky Fork String Band.
Yeah, and I was here, and during a break, he said, "There's somebody I want you to meet." He said, "Come here, I want to introduce you to this guy."
Oh, that's right.
And he came over and he introduced me to you, and you were sitting in a booth
with my parents.
Your parents?
I think my mom and my dad was there. Yeah.
Because I remember it differently. I remember several like young women. Were there other women along there with you?
Hold on. Let me make sure
Think
I've got
back.
the right. I don't know how many times I've brought several young women to the Dolphin Lounge.
Okay.
I think it was my mother, Chris's wife, and maybe my little sister was there. That could have been
Really?
a family event, Dan.
Really? That's so funny because I remembered it differently. I remembered you like it was like you surrounded by all these really pretty women, and I'm thinking, wow, who's this guy?
That's really interesting. That could have happened because Gahanna, Dolphin Lounge is near Gahanna.
Yeah, that's right.
And I used to play shows at Creekside.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was playing shows at Creekside, I had that long hair going, and that might have happened.
Uh-huh.
But I think the Dolphin Lounge was a family occasion.
Okay.
I was getting to know Chris for the first time, and I was really trying to launch this program that was gonna. And he gave me so much good advice, and later became a board member of Columbus Songwriters Association.
Right. What was this thing you were working on with him?
Well, I used to busk in the subways in Chicago, and I would go there in high school, and I would perform songs as a way to like test out my songs, and I would measure I would kind of quantify the efficacy of the song with the amount of tips that I would be getting when I play a chorus or something. So it was my way to get feedback from people. I was in Chicago, and there was this man that came up to me. And he legitimately, like, I just met so many amazing people that were in the subway that were, you would think that they didn't have homes, but a lot of them actually did. But they were just hyper intelligent, and they just wanted to live the life that was just very free and very different.
Right.
And I met this one man who literally was homeless, but he was also an artist. And he had painted these amazing pictures, and he was selling them like custom pictures. And he lifted up his shirt, and he showed me these really intense grenade wounds that he had got from the Army, or I think it was maybe it was history is not my best, and I think it was a Vietnam war wound. And he came back to the United States, and he had this tragic story of after he'd gotten his dismemberment, disfiguration, like he ended up like losing a lot of his family, and just really hard times set in. And so I was trying to find a way to get in touch with him again when I got back to Columbus, because I was going to start raising money for the homeless that I had met. And I found the Star House, the OSU Star House, which was run by Gina Patterson. I think it still is. But I ended up just really, really, for some reason, homelessness has just always been on my mind as something that I really, really care about it. And, people have different perspectives on whether or not you should support or how you should support and all those things. But I really understand that. I think with those people, I just love them, and I get them as people, and I have the best conversations with them. And I've just made a lot of friends in that community in Columbus and in Chicago. But I was raising some money for a homeless youth project with one of my first albums that I recorded myself called Grow, wrapped it in newspaper and was selling it to support the homeless youth, and was trying to figure out more ways to expand that project when I met Chris. But that was just like a young, young ethereal project with not understanding how nonprofits work, and just total naivety, just trying to do something that felt right with music. And we ended up raising some money and supporting, and it was just really good vibes. The OSU Star House is an amazing place. It's an amazing drop-in center for homeless youth. My sister got involved later, and she was entering college and stuff too. So it's cool how things come full circle.
Yeah. So then you grew up around here, and then did you just decide to just stick around and go to OSU, and or what did you do afterwards? I
followed a girl. I pretty much followed my high school sweetheart to Miami.
Of course.
And we weren't together at the time, but I knew exactly what I was doing. And I think in a way she probably didn't. She was trying to leave me behind, which is great. But at Miami, I ended up just going into business school on honors, and then I ended up playing so many shows at this coffee shop downtown that there was a songwriter named Bo Bristow that was passing through, and I had about 300 to 400 people out at this coffee shop, and he saw it and saw what was going on, and he invited me to start playing some shows with him on the road here and there, open up for Corey Crowder, who was on Tooth and Nail Records. And so I ended up just dropping out of college. Because I called my parents and I said, I love music. I don't know what else to do. And they said, well, that's fine. Just, make sure that, you come back home and build a recording studio, do it right. And so I basically just kind of refinished their basement and just started going after the dream at that point.
Wow.
Did that for 2 years. Just on the road playing shows, about 150 shows a year.
Yeah?
Learned a ton. Got really sick from it. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't treating my body right. I thought I was invincible when I was 20 years old and didn't know what health meant. And so I just went after it as hard as I could. And then I totally burnt myself out to the point of serious adrenal failure.
No.
Wow. Just coffee, trying to just, write another song. And I think it was a bit of an obsession about music at that point in my life. And maybe it's stayed with me, Dan. But I think I really fried myself, and that's why I went back to college.
It's a good reason to go back to college.
It was, yeah. But I wasn't physically 100% able to at that point. So there's a resting period where I went to Columbus State, and then I transferred into OSU, and it was actually a really good path for me. But kind of a wild ride from Miami University to touring to audio engineering to Columbus State and then back to OSU.
I heard an interview that you gave. Now I can't remember the radio. It was a radio podcast, and they asked you to sing "Chasing You," or they didn't ask you to sing it. They played it. They were asking you about it. The song you wrote that when you were 19 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Was it about this girl that you chased down to Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you go, take what you need, take anything for your peace. And when you found,
well, I don't know. Actually, Chasing You, Dan, was not about that one. She is so. I mean, her family was amazing, and she is so happily married. She did some amazing things in her life, and she's kind of moved forward. But that one was actually after I left Miami, I totally fell in love, and then almost got married. I mean, I think we were very close to getting married.
Really?
Yeah. There was a point in time where we were kind of trying to figure that out, and then it was like, well, I'm 22 and you're 20, and I don't know if we're ready for this, But that's an epic story in of itself, because as soon as we broke up, there were some ridiculous things that happened on that one, and she's kind of I have no idea where she is today. It's kind of wild.
You have a lot of painful love songs that you've written. Yeah.
I can't keep you this time, but when you call, say what you need, say anything for your peace. And girl, when you kiss,
you may choose not to answer this, but how many times have you just fallen head over heels in love with somebody?
Whew, that's a good one. That's a great question.
so it won't feel right.
How head over heels are we talking?
You define it. You define it.
I can't keep chasing you, go on, run along, 'cause I
I'd say maybe like twice.
Oh, okay.
Twice. But I think I love hard. I just,
you do.
know, I sink in pretty quickly. I think it's also just like an immediate connection bond thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really explore anything else outside of that.
Yeah.
I was in a courtship in high school, so I kind of learned the, intensity of those kind of relationships and what almost like being away from somebody physically can feel like. And then as I kind of grew out of that, I started still applying some of the deeper sentiments of courtship into a relationship, which just kind of makes me very intense in terms of being in a relationship with somebody.
Well, your songs can be very intense. They can be very very emotional. And I don't know, I was thinking about it when I was on my way here, actually. I was thinking, like, you have very emotional music, but I don't necessarily see you as a very emotional guy, like, so much. I think maybe that's because you're always so busy doing things and doing business. But when I hear your music, I hear a lot of emotion.
Of course, yeah.
A lot of just passionate. I mean, chasing you, you're screaming.
Yeah. Yep.
Toward the end there.
Makes for a better song, David.
Sure. Okay, sure.
No, you're hitting it on the head. I mean, there's definitely, I think as an artist, it's my most natural side. It's the best side of me.
Uh-huh.
And I think when I sit down with a guitar, I can go back to who I really feel like I want to be and who I really feel like I am in full blown emotion and just open.
Mm-hmm.
And when I travel, I think I get that way too.
Mm.
I kind of rediscover like the parts of myself that I think that sometimes you almost gotta like condense. You gotta put a compressor on at times to operate, to be productive, to be efficient, to be effective. And so I guess there's the Gemini in me goes between that, the Joe and the Joey. And I think also with that, the artist versus the person that is extremely focused on getting something finished, done, out, packaged, sold, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's an art meets business kind of thing going on.
Oh, sounds like Joe and Joey need to have a conversation.
I think they coexist pretty well most days. I think there's I've started referring to the artists that I know that maintain a extremely true presence of their emotion as pure artists, and they live that purity out every single day. Because I've found in myself that I would say that there's definitely things that I do in my life that have all sorts of traces of artistry within them. But for me to actually do those things, there's no way that I could be the pure artist. And I think that's when it gets down to business and capitalism and all this stuff. And I think all of us would be Marxist if we could actually choose a path that wasn't already created before we were born. But at the end of the day, I think we live in a capitalistic world and we're living in a productive society. And I think for me, yes, I could totally lock myself in a bedroom for 9 months and create nothing but music and be probably happy, happy enough. But I think there's another side to the world where you have to create things that people can actually experience too. And so that's, I guess, where I start to cross over between Joe and Joey is like the creating something for myself versus creating something for others.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's fair.
Is it fair?
Yeah. When was the last time you played out?
Actually, for Rob Maccabee's event, he has the Troubadour.
The Troubadour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was over at Rambling House Soda Pop. I played a show with him and Nick DeAndrea.
Uh-huh.
and I totally forgot like 3 of the songs that are like some of my favorite songs that I love to play. But it wasn't a terrible show. I realized I was rusty, but it was really enjoyable to be there with Rob. He hosts really well, and Nick is amazing. All of his songs.
When was that?
That was in February.
Yeah,
I want to say. And then we had a house concert here once upon a time. We tried it here, and I played a couple songs, but. And I also played for the reception of the hotel in Monterey when I was leaving because they saw me having a guitar with me. So I serenaded the receptionist of the hotel on my way out for the whole lobby to hear. But yeah, that is a great question, Dan. I've been playing as much as I used to, and I want to. I need to. I pick it up like quickly every time I start to do it again. It's like it's like riding a bike. And with that, I think I've been kind of sitting on maybe 12 or 13 songs that I really actually believe in and I love. And I guess I had a little bit of a falling out artistically because I really trusted a producer to work with me on a song recently, and I was willing to like go all out and just kind of make the song like the single that would kind of get me back into music in a recording way. And I tried it, and the whole experience just totally didn't work out. And Kelly Zulo has talked to me about these moments, but you have a vision for your song, and the engineer, the producer can't quite match it, and so you kind of struggle artistically, but at the end of the day, what do you do? And so I had a really bad experience. And I think it actually kind of hurt my drive to go back in the studio and think about this full album that I've been wanting to do. I went to Nashville and I performed right after this recording experience thing. I went to Nashville and I performed, and everything worked out. And I spent a lot of time with Barbara Cloyd. She's so awesome, and played some shows there. And I recently signed up with CSAC as a writer. I have a big catalog of songs, but I need to finish this album. Maybe this year.
Okay.
I should do it. Maybe I should record in this room and do this album.
Well, you've recorded in other places. The funny thing is, going back to the Dolphin, when I met you there that night, I went home and I listened. I looked you up, and I listened to Footprints. I think that was the first song that I heard of yours.
Yeah, it has some Subway sounds in it.
It has the Subway sounds in it. And it was...
it's a live recording, too.
Yeah.
That vocal take is live.
Yeah. It... that's why I don't mind this ambient noise right now. And I'm sure you noticed this, but I was listening to it yesterday again for the first time in a long time. And I noticed at the beginning... the announcement, you know what I'm going to say? Doors closing.
Doors closing. Yep.
And it was just...
Ave, yeah.
Yeah, and it was such a good introduction to the song. Because the lyric, carry your footprints wherever you go so I can't easily follow.
Yeah.
And I heard that and I was like, oh, that's a good lyric.
Carry your footprints wherever you go, so I can't easily follow. When you leave me, go out the back door, so I won't hear your toes on the floorboard.
And I had missed good lyric writing. I hadn't heard a lot of it in a while, and so it was nice to get a load of that. And then I noticed that happening all over the place, so it jump started a little bit for me, just so that that idea. And in fact, when I recorded my album, the very first track has the sounds on it, and
that's awesome.
And that's what it made me. It allowed me to feel like I was allowed to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep it in the box that you expect it you think people expect it. So
I think that was a real work of art for me. I think it's like I even don't even like. Usually, you don't listen to your own music. I don't mind listening to those tracks as long as it's like 1 a.m. or later. They're like the late night music, that you can just turn on and just kind of it's more art than it is anything else. But
yeah,
I love playing those songs. Some of those songs on that Grow album were really good, but at the same time, I've got a different style now that isn't as complete, just like sugar honesty.
Right.
Sometimes you get so much sugar and there's just too much syrup. Like you're just like, I don't even want this. And I think the new ones are almost they compress different parts of it. They add a little bit more flavor, a little bit more spice in different areas, and they make something palatable that isn't just like a hit you in the face with just a huge wall of sound or a huge wall of emotion or something. So I'm excited to record those songs, and I'll probably do it in this apartment. This room, I think, is a good room for something acoustic.
Well, yeah, you'll get plenty of natural reverb.
Natural reverb, yeah,
for sure.
Yes, for sure.
As you can tell by this recording.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's not too bad.
No, it's not bad. It's all right. I want to touch kind of on all these places that you've been, because if you go to your website, joeyhendrickson.com, it's just filled with where you've been.
Yeah.
You've been, there's just a couple of like the you mentioned, South by Southwest and Power Music Festival and Music Export Conference in Warsaw, when you went to Poland. That was huge.
Yeah, I did a keynote for that.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. And a while back you talked about South Korea. You'd been there a couple of times. Was that business or pleasure?
Well, I almost went to Korea, and it didn't happen. I was about to go, and I canceled my ticket. And that's another love story I don't want to get too far into, Dan.
I remember. 'Cause we sat down at Donato's during one of your gigs, and you told me all about this.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Korean.
Soyeon.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I met this girl from Columbus who blew me away, and then I just couldn't go to Korea after that. That's a hard one.
Wow. Yeah.
Because that's I think sometimes life just kind of steers your path with that stuff. I definitely need to spend more time talking to my married friends about the love that they've found and how it guides them in life.
What do you want to know? I'm all answers.
We've talked on this a little bit before. I could put you on the hot seat, couldn't I?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you've created in your life with your significant other is pretty amazing. How you guys share and work and play, and I think what you've cultivated in a family is just it's ideal. You want somebody to be there with you in the things that you love to do. And I think sometimes for me, I find that I love to do so many different things that I guess there's a natural falling in, falling out that's got to happen on some things. It's the Gemini coming through again. It could be Gemini Taurus cusp.
Okay.
Like if you talked with, I don't know, Brian Lucy got me into his astrologist, and George Schwint got me into his astrologist. So I've been kind of like looking at the signs and kind of understanding more about how we align with stars sometimes as people. But I think there's a natural state I'm in of almost just high energy and almost restlessness at times. And I think it's just kind of become, over the last 7 years, 8 years, something that I've learned to embrace. But I think it might be harder for, hopefully it's not too hard that because I want to become married at some point. I want to have a real family and those things. But, struggling to ask you the real questions over a mic, Dan.
No, you can ask questions. Please come to Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Loggins.
It's
kind of one of those settle down songs. Please,
and it's the guy that's just bouncing everywhere, and he's just like, oh, come over here to, we'll build this and we'll make these great things. He's like, no, you can sell your paintings and I'll work in a cafe. He's like, no, just come home, just be with me. And that's kind of one of those when you it's not like you're giving up on dreams. It's just like you're cultivating new ones, and you're kind of saying where you want to put your energy and where you want to be, where you want to be happy. You can be happy any place, but it's just like where you want to be happy, and where you want to grow. And
I'm gonna listen to that song on repeat for a while, Dan.
Oh, it's so gorgeous. It's one of the most near perfect songs that I can think of. But let me we can talk more about that. I'm happy to be
we should do
relationship
that on
counseling
a regular basis.
Let's
just do like a monthly little meetup, Dan.
Sure. But this started back, I was talking about Korea, and before that I was talking about Poland, and I was talking about Power of Music. And so tell me now, so what's the next big project for you?
Next big project. Well, number one, I think each of the organizations I'm involved with is doing something big right now.
Uh-huh.
I'll start with Calypso. Calypso is doing a lot of our expansion around our digital innovation practice. And so I'm heavily involved in creating new projects around our innovation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to launch License Local, and that's been a long time coming. I got support from the Small Business Owners of America. That my buddy James Moore contributed to that project because he saw the vision, he saw I had a dream, and he understands the importance of helping artists get paid too. So we're going to launch that, and I think I've got a bunch of cities lined up that are going to take that on as well. A licensing platform for local musicians. The Columbus Music Commission is hiring an executive director, which is a huge project in and of itself. There's a job app like right now that's up, and the board is fueling applications for that. It's going to be an incredible role. Whoever is working in it is just going to have a blast. And as a board member, I'm just so excited to see who takes on that role and what happens next. And then Columbus Songwriters Association. We are going to be applying for a large grant from the Ohio Department of Education to do after-school programs for kids in high schools.
Nice.
So we've developed Building a Life with Music, and we're going to be applying for this grant in hopes to teach kids music lessons and give them music business courses, and then maybe even prepare a student record label or two.
Wow.
In high schools, yeah.
Wow.
So it'll be really good for Columbus City Schools, is I think who we're going to be targeting for that.
Huh.
So those are four big things coming up, four big projects, and hopefully as an artist this year I'll be able to put my own condenser mics up and get some tracks rolling again.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to release something.
Well, man, I think it's been a long time coming. I appreciate you finally etching out some time for me to sit down and chat.
Yeah. You got me forgetting that there's a microphone in front of my face.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah, this is chill.
Good.
We got the I Love Poland mugs with the wine.
Yeah, I think wine tastes better, and I love Poland mugs.
I think so too.
It's not Polish wine.
No, it's not. It's California
wine.
Polish wine is good too. Depending.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Joey. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
Last night you said hello to me. I tried, but I couldn't speak. The way you moved around my room, now you're a mystery. Last night you smiled and looked at me. They say I've been seeing things since you've been gone, and I could be wrong, but I swear I saw your face. Think I heard your voice. Were you next to me or in my dreams? Or am I seeing things? I swear I saw your dress, and I think I'm still your boy in another life. Or am I seeing things?
Joey sent me a text shortly after we recorded this, overthinking it, of course, wanting a do-over. But I think it was a good talk, don't you? We hit some basics. Maybe there'll be room for a part 2 in the future. He's pretty firm about that, so we'll see what happens. But for now, let's just relax with a mug of wine and just enjoy what we have. Hey, be sure and follow what's going on at FITK Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and on rare occasion, Twitter. And check out this episode's page at danheight.com for more of Joey. Hey, that's all I got, you guys. Thanks for listening, and let's go make some stories.
That's where I saw your face. I think I'm still your boy in another life. Or am I? Seeing things. Am I seeing things?
That is very good.
It's good wine.
Yeah, if you were listening, you would have heard me swallow that. So.